Hi everyone, I'm Cody, W3AMG with Bridgecom Systems, and today we are doing another live Q&A. So this is an Ask Me Anything, so anything related to ham radio, DMR, or any questions you have, we're here to answer them today as best we can, and if not, we'll find someone who can help you. So we've got a few products laid out here, got the computer set up, so should be able to go over almost anything. Let's get into it. Let's see, it looks like a lot of you folks have already started asking questions. Before we get into it, I want to let you know we actually have a spring ham shack giveaway going on right now. It's worth over $4,500, so make sure you check that out, sign up for that. A lot of goodies that are going to be given away to someone, so definitely don't want to miss out on that. But let's get right into it. Let's see, what questions do we have? Okay. Here we go, first question. When I upload my Ultra Code plug, it saves in, saves in Notebook even though I tell it desktop. What am I doing wrong? Great question. So, need a little bit more information to really answer this. Not entirely sure what you're doing. So if you're downloading the Ultra Code plug and it's just not saving in the right folder, well, you can always move it, so it's not a big deal if it saves it to the wrong place. Just move it where you want it. If you're importing it to the radio, you should be able to just go up in the software and click open, and we'll show you how to do that here real quick. Let me switch over to the computer. Switch over here. Awesome. So if you are on your computer and open up the CPS, so we'll open it up real quick, there's an option to open your code plug. So if you download it, it doesn't really matter where it goes. You can just move it. If you want to store it somewhere, just move it from there. And then after that, go ahead and open up the software. We'll just wait for this to open up real quick. And there's a button up here at the top, right beside the Save button. This one right here, it says Open. Just go ahead and click on that. And at that point, don't worry about it. At this point, you'll be able to open your file from anywhere, wherever you saved it from. Hopefully that answers your question. Awesome. Let's find another question here. Okay, oops. Here we go. Here is a question. Does private talk groups and private connections work on any DMR network or just Brandmeister? That's a good question. So most of the other networks also have private and public calls, similar to like in Brandmeister, you know, if you had a private call on the Parrot, for example, most of the other networks allow that as well. So absolutely, I can't say every single one does, but from what I've used, like Brandmeister, TGIF, most of them, they certainly do. But great question, thanks. Let's see. Here we go. Alan asks, how can I listen to a PTT talk group on a repeater without transmitting to it and possibly interfering with activity already there? That's a good question. So if you're on a repeater and you don't want to transmit, you just want to listen, you can put your radio into digital monitor and it will monitor what's going on that repeater. Now, that's going to mean someone has to key up something for you to actually hear it. So if there's no one talking on that repeater, you would actually have to key up to be able to get into you know, a talk group if you want to talk on, listen to worldwide, whatever that is. So just go ahead and key up, let people know you're there, and you'll be able to listen after that. Okay, let's see here. Here we go. Alan asked another question. Second question, on a repeater with talk groups, Arizona, California, and Cal talk group, some different talk groups there, all on time slot 1, what happens if 2 or more of these are active from different remote remote repeaters? Yeah, so that they're going to be totally fine if those talk groups are active on different repeaters. I think that's what I'm hearing. Different people can talk on those at this, you know, at the same time. You can have someone talking on the talk group on a hotspot up in, you know, Michigan, and you can have someone talking on a repeater down in Texas, you know, out in California, vice versa. It all is going to work fine together. on those different talk groups. So hopefully that answers your question. If not, feel free to elaborate. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Lisa asks, is the spring giveaway done on a live stream? If so, do you need to be present to win? So this giveaway is not on the live stream. This is actually running for a while, I believe, for this month. So definitely sign up for it. You don't have to be present to win. In fact, there's lots of other ways you can get more than one entry into that giveaway. So definitely check it out. This is a large giveaway, over $4,500 worth of ham radio gear. But you do not have to be present to win. This is not like the weekly live stream giveaways we do. Awesome. Appreciate the question. Let's see here. Here we go. David asks, can you transmit APRS on subband while scanning other channels on active channel? That's a great question. So I'm not super familiar on the APRS side of things. So maybe if any of you folks are, you could definitely chime in and help David out. Definitely, if you want to learn more about it, give us a call. We have some awesome technical folks in-house who'd be able to help you with that. 816-532-8451. But from my understanding, you can set APRS to transmit on a separate channel, you know, every 15, 30, you know, however many minutes or seconds you want, and you still use your radio for scanning and everything else in the meantime. I've set mine up that way before, so you should be able to do what you're thinking about as long as I'm understanding it correctly. Awesome, here we go. Let's see. See, Ron, I'm new at this. In fact, you just shipped my radio today. Can't wait to get started. Awesome, yeah, congratulations on getting started with DMR. It's a lot of fun. We're here for you, so if you need anything, definitely let us know. Join in on these streams or you know, give us a call. We'll help you out if you have questions. So congratulations. Here we go. Chris asks, can the firmware be updated on the 878 and 578? And if so, where are the updates found? And how do you know, okay, where'd it go? And how do you do it? Good question. It went off the screen there for a second for me. Awesome, yeah, thanks. Thanks for the question, Chris. So the updates are actually going to be found on our support page, and we actually have YouTube videos and videos in Bridgecom University that will show you how to do that. So let's jump over here and take a look. Let's see. So if we go over here, open up a web browser, and we'll go to Bridgecom Systems. Oops. bridgecomsystems.com. Here we go. And once you're here, just go to Resources. Let's see here. Nope, actually it's going to be under Support. They changed a few things around recently, so it's going to be under Support at the front. And once you are here, you should be able to find your radio. So you talked about firmware, so we can have the 878 or the 578 here. If you want to see more, you can click on the See All down here. But in this case, let's say we wanted an 878 V2. We just click on that and we'll have all the different versions there. And you can obviously download them, upgrade your firmware, whatever you'd like. So hopefully that answers your question. As for how to do it, we have some videos on it. It's pretty simple, and if you have more questions, definitely give us a call. Awesome. Here we go. Philip asks, how can I make a mirror image of my SS card in my hotspot? I assume you mean SD card in the hotspot. It's pretty simple. There's actually a lot of videos out there on a lot of folks have made videos that show you how to do that. You know, typically a lot of people, you know, don't really need to, but if you want to, it's certainly possible to do that and make a backup of it. Just be careful not to actually erase what's on your current card when you do that. You know, we've had some folks try that and end up erasing what they have So just make sure you understand what you're doing before you do that. But it's a great idea to make a backup of it, so certainly can't go wrong there. There's a lot of good information online, though, for that. Awesome. Thanks for the question. Here we go. Fred asks, my radio drops out in middle of transmission. What can I do? That is a good question. So I guess I need a little bit more information to have any ideas on how we might solve that. If you're transmitting to a hotspot or to a repeater, or what exactly is going on. If everything, if you're on the fringe of being able to reach the repeater, maybe that's giving you trouble. You shouldn't be dropping out literally while you're holding down that PTT button, unless you're talking about when you're receiving. So just need some more information there. If you are transmitting and it's just simply not transmitting, and it's not like you're running up against a talk limit on a repeater or something like that, definitely give us a call. We can help you get that straightened out. Beyond that, I just need some more information to tell you what's going on there. But awesome, thanks for the question. Here we go, here's a question. New guy here, well, welcome, thanks for stopping by. Still waiting for my radio and hotspot. Can the hotspot work with Yaesu on Fusion, I believe, is your question. Yeah, awesome, thanks for your question. Absolutely, so the SkyBridge will work with System Fusion, not a problem at all. In fact, actually yesterday we just had it up and running on Fusion, trying out different modes. So you can certainly turn that on, use it with a Fusion radio. In fact, you can even cross mode from your DMR radio over to Fusion if that's what you want to do. So definitely, thanks for the question. Here we go. Here we go. Bob asks a question. Oops. Yeah, does Pi-Star remember Wi-Fi networks? It will auto-log into the nearest Wi-Fi. Will auto-log into the nearest Wi-Fi? Thinking about using hotspot for both my house Wi-Fi and then mobile phone hotspot for portable. Great question, Bob. So the SkyBridge will certainly remember Wi-Fi networks. So when you actually input the network into the SkyBridge, you'll basically add the network username and password, and then whenever your SkyBridge is in range of one of them, it's likely going to connect to the strongest one. And then if you go out of range of that, it's going to switch over to a different one. So I usually recommend only having it be able to connect to one at a time. So for me, I typically keep mine hooked up to my cell phone. That way, when I'm on the go, when I'm in a hotel, when I'm in the car, when I'm at home, it's going to work no matter what. And it uses so little bandwidth, you don't notice the difference on your cell phone. Now, at home, oftentimes I'll just plug it in. That way, you don't have to worry about it. But you can certainly set it up for more than one Wi-Fi network, and we'll show you how to do that real quick. So go ahead and type in the IP address that's on the screen. So in this case, 192.168.1.177. So we'll go over there and try that real quick. Let's pull up the computer. Here we go. So open up a web browser. We'll just type in the IP address that displays on the screen. That's a big feature for the SkyBridge. A lot of hotspots, they don't show you the IP address they're on, and that's going to change based on what network you have it plugged into, or even depending on your networks, that could change every time you plug it in. So if you don't have that, you're going to have to be hunting through your router every time you want to log in and change something on your SkyBridge, whereas in this case, it tells you that information right on the front. So here we go. Once you're at the dashboard, just click on Configuration. Username and password. Username is going to be pi-star. Oops. Password is Raspberry, R-A-S-P-B-E-R-R-Y. There we go. Once you're in here, we can see we have a few modes active. I'm going to actually change this back just to DMR since that's the only radio we have in here right now. Now, if you scroll down a little bit to the Wi-Fi, you'll click on Configure Wi-Fi right here. And we have a few Wi-Fi networks in here. So like, I don't need this anymore. I can get rid of that. Have Bridgecom network. You can either scan for networks, so I could click on this. And oops. If I click on the scan for networks, it will actually should scan for more networks, or you can click on add network and it will actually add one for you. and you would just type in the username. Oh, there we go, the scan worked. So there's all the scan networks. You can see the signal, everything like that. We could connect to any of them. Or if we wanted to, we can just manually add a new network, type in our information, and then just hit save and connect and reboot your SkyBridge, and you'll be all set. So hopefully that answers your question there. It's really simple to actually add the Wi-Fi networks. Now, there's a couple things you're probably not going to be able to do if you're on like a hotel Wi-Fi with a you have to click their terms and accept through a web browser. You're not going to be able to do that through this. But almost all of us nowadays have these cell phones with us, and even the old ones, they can host a Wi-Fi hotspot. So just connect your SkyBridge up to the cell phone. You can even do it through the phone itself. You don't even need a computer to connect it up, and you'll be up and running no matter where you go. So great question. Let's see. Here we go. Here's a question. How do I program both the A channel and the sub channel so I'm using DMR in A and analog in B? That is a good question. So you basically would just program those channels to either be analog or not analog. So let me see, turn on the radio here. Oops. Okay, maybe this radio is out of power. Let's find another. We got a couple more batteries down here. Always good to have a spare battery around. There we go. Wait for this to boot up. But yeah, it's pretty much as simple as just changing the whatever that channel is in your channel. So if it's DMR or analog, you can totally change that. So here we go. I'm on the Parrot. Oops. Yeah, I believe this one's been set up a little bit differently, but on maybe one of these radios is set up that way. Here we go. We'll turn this one on. But it's basically as simple as just changing the whatever channel you're on. In that case, the sub channel or the A or B. You can just change that to either be digital or analog. Let's see if this one. Here we go. Yeah, so here we go. VFO-A. I can change that back. If I wanted to go change that, you just go in the menu, scroll down to like this so you folks can see it. Here we go. Hopefully that's better for you. So you'll just simply go into menu. There we go. And hopefully that's in focus. Looks a little bit fuzzy. You'll go down to settings. And then once you're there, just go to channel set. And at that point, you can change the channel type. That's either analog or digital. And you can change that, like VFO-A, for example. I can change that for any of the other channels, and you'll be rocking and rolling after that. So hopefully that answers your question. You should be able to do that from the CPS as well. Absolutely. Thanks for the question. Okay, let's see here. Here we go. Philip asks, how can I find DMR groups in my area, Buffalo, New York? That's a great question. So the best way to find the talk groups is generally like either Brandmeister or Pi-Star. If you have a look here, we'll see if we can find one real quick. And I know there's certainly a talk group for New York. I imagine there's one near where you're located. So we just look for Pi-Star. Once we're here, let's see, Brandmeister talk group list. This is typically where I go to find my talk groups. We have the entire Brandmeister talk group list here. So let's say you were looking for, we can just do a Control F, New York. Let's see, there's New York. See if we can find any other ones. Buffalo. Doesn't look like there's any in there specifically for Buffalo, but there is New York, and oftentimes they have some like more local area talk groups. So definitely take a look in there. There's probably one a little bit closer for your local area. And if not, there's definitely, I'm sure, some repeaters around there too. So hopefully that answers the question. There's talk groups for just about everything in every area on there. Okay. Here we go. Here is a question. Are there any known glitches with CPS in firmware version 1.26? That's a good question. Let me see what I'm on here real quick. I know there was a version that came out that was a little bit finicky, which we have not recommended yet. Let me take a look. I know this radio is on a good stable version. Let's see, and if we put it up on the website as recommended, it's good to go. It's tested by us. If we don't, or if we take it down, then there's probably a reason we don't have it up there. Device info. So I am on 2.04 for firmware here. Let me take a look. 2.26. See if we have that one up here. Yeah, 2.04 for the 878 is currently what we would recommend as the current version. There might be a newer one out there. 1.26, I think, might be the firmware version. You know, that's up to you. We've run into some weird things with, I think it was that one. So definitely I would recommend sticking to the most recent one that's offered on the Bridgecom support page, because that's usually tested. We actually have an in-house tech who's brilliant at testing all this stuff. So we test everything and find out, oh, there's actually a lot of bugs in this, so we're not going to put it up yet until they get fixed, to try to stop you guys from running into those problems. So definitely, you know, just go based on the Bridgecom page which firmware to go to. But great question. That's awesome. Let's see here. Find another question here real quick. Okay. Here we go. Here's a question. Richard asks, how often should we update our firmware? Some say leave it alone if it is working fine, and I'm sure others say to update it. So that is a good question. You know, I do both on this front. If there's a new feature I want, something new that's going to help me, I'm going to be the first person to update it because I want that. But if there isn't anything new and I'm not having any troubles, I probably won't ever mess with it. I know for me, it was a big deal when they brought out the new menu system in the radio. It makes it so much easier to navigate. So for me, that was a huge deal. I had to upgrade to that. But for most of the firmwares, you know, it's not a big deal for me. If I'm having a problem, I'll certainly update. But until there's a big feature comes along, generally I just stick with my current firmware. But that decision's totally up to you. It's not going to hurt you to update as long as it is a known good firmware version. So my general advice would just be leave it alone if it's working fine. But if there's something new you want, definitely go for it. Awesome. Good question. Okay, here we go. Mark in 9TCA asks, if I get a code plug from Bridgecom, can I add my local repeaters to it, basically? So absolutely, that's a great question. We get that all the time. If you have the Ultra code plug, you can certainly add your local repeaters to it. In fact, we even have some videos that show you how. It's really simple to do. You basically just go in and just underneath the channels that are in there, you'll just add your local repeaters, make yourself a zone for them, and you're going to be up, rocking and rolling. Now, if you wanted to use the Ultra code plug with a local repeater, you could actually go in and change all the frequencies over to that local repeater, and the Ultra code plug will now work for that repeater. So a couple different options there depending on what you want to do. Generally, I recommend keeping that for your SkyBridge. That way you can use it anywhere and just add your local repeaters for, you know, more traditional use. But if you want to use the Ultra code plug with a local repeater, and so you don't have a SkyBridge, you can do it that way too. So a lot of options there, but the short answer is yes, absolutely. Awesome. Let's find another question here. Okay. Here we go. Fred. Okay, trying to reach out with SkyBridge using 868, connecting to a friend using his talk group. Awesome, that's a great question. In fact, we have one of the old 868s down here. They're good little radios. You don't have all the new features. You can't fit the entire contact list in it, so you're not going to be able to see all the people you're talking to. But if you have one, they're good to have around. They're awesome. They still work great. So you can certainly use it with the SkyBridge. Not any problems. They're going to be set up just like the others. Hopefully that answers your question. If you're having trouble with it, let us know. We'd love to help you with it. Awesome. Let's find another question here. Here we go. Barry asks, I've noticed since installing the Supercode plug on my 878 UV2 Plus, if I scroll through the talk groups on my device, I reach a point where the radio freezes. How would you fix this condition? Interesting. Well, first step, I would actually have a look, see what firmware version you're on. If you're on a stable firmware, then give us a call, 816-532-8451. We'll help you figure out what's going on there, because your radio shouldn't be freezing. That sounds odd, but you may check if you got a radio with a newer firmware than that. That could be giving you issues there, but shouldn't be doing that. So definitely reach out to us and we'll help you out with that. Shouldn't be freezing on you. But thanks for the question. Okay. Here we go. Ken says, I use remote shutdown using talk group, a whole bunch of 9s and a 6. Can I edit the script in the expert remote area of Pi-Star and edit that talk group to a different set of 7 numbers? That is a great question. That's probably a little bit above my Pi-Star knowledge level, but that is awesome. You're into it. So definitely one of our techs might have some more information on that. You might have more information than us on that. So that is a fantastic question. If any of you folks know in the chat, let's help Ken out. See if we can get some brains together and figure this out. But definitely, if you have trouble with it, give us a call. We can see what information we can provide for you. But I have not personally done that before, so fantastic question. Okay, here we go. Let's find some more. Oops. Not sure why that popped back up there. Okay. Here we go. Timothy asks, brand new plug and play customer here. Awesome, congratulations. Yeah, I hope you're enjoying it. Plug and play is a great way to get into DMR. You can start talking to people around the world right out of the box. Is there a video available on how to navigate the talk groups on the radio? Yeah, we definitely have some videos on that. Be happy to share those with you. As for navigating the talk groups on the radio, depends a little bit what you got, if you just got the plug and play or if you got an ultra code plug with it too, but it'll be similar. I'll show you here real quick. So on the radio, let's see here, hopefully you can see this. It looks a little, see if I can find the focus plane where this is. There we go. Hopefully you can see if I hold this a little bit closer to the camera. So if you go up and down on your zones, you'll actually be able to go through the different zones. So like here I have my SkyBridge zone. Now if you're in this middle button on the radio right here, that is what's going to change your zones. So definitely press that up and down, that'll change your zones. Then you can use this middle knob to change the channels within the zone. So there's the most popular talk groups, right? And then you should have your disconnect in there. So make sure you use your disconnect before you talk to a new talk group, this one right here. Now, if I change zones, the zones are going to be basically like categories. So I have my 50 states, I have my NOAA weather channels, I have a whole bunch of international, countries. I can scroll through all of them. There's just about everything in here. It is awesome. So you use the button in the middle, up and down, to go through your different talk groups. or I apologize, different zones. So these are basically just organizing everything that you have. And then to change channels within that, or talk groups, you basically use the center knob to change through them. So hopefully that helps you there. That's the easiest way to do it. There can be, if you have the Ultra Code plug, there's quite a lot of info in there, but it's all organized, so it should be real easy for you. Okay, we'll switch back over here. But thanks for the question. Okay, here we go. Oh. Fred asks, is there a search function in the CPS? That is a fantastic question. Unfortunately, there is not at this time. There's no way to search a channel. That will be awesome if that ever happens, or we have the opportunity to make that happen. You bet I certainly will be doing that. So currently there's no way to search, but you can just scroll down. Usually there's a pretty easy way to find everything, but no search function yet. So that would be awesome. I like it. Let's see, find another question here. Okay, here we go. Wayne says, I watched yesterday and saw you add another digital type to the hotspot dashboard. What can I expect with D-Star? Can I talk with a D-Star operator? Will he hear me? In9EGT using 878 and happy. Awesome. Well, congratulations. Glad you're having a good time with it. Good question. So the SkyBridge will support cross mode between basically there's 3 different modes that it cross modes between, which is DMR, System Fusion, and NXDN. Any which way you want to dice it, those will cross mode, not a problem. So that means you can talk with your DMR radio to someone on a System Fusion network or vice versa. That will be fine. Now, if you're wanting to talk D-Star, you'll actually need to have a D-Star radio, and that'll work great with the SkyBridge, but you'll not be able to actually cross over, at least with the integrated SkyBridge system. I know there's some talk groups or gateways out there that sometimes may allow you to do that, but for what the SkyBridge can do, you would need a D-Star radio to talk to D-Star. But certainly you can play around with that. I know there's sometimes some people have some workarounds, so you may be able to do it. Awesome, great question though, thanks. Let's see. Okay, here's a good question. Can you demo using direct dial? Long press 0, then press the pound to change from private to group. Yeah, we could certainly demo that. I actually don't use that very much. It's been a while, so hopefully I can remember how to do such a thing. So if you're on a talk group and you want to change it without having to scroll through all your channels, you can actually dial in the talk group. This is super handy if you're on local repeaters and you don't want to have to program each repeater for everything. You can just simply dial in that talk group number and use it with your repeater. So let's see if we can do that here real quick. We'll switch over. Okay. So here we go. We're going to hold down 0. There we go. So now we can dial in the talk group. So if you want a private ID, you leave it. If you want a group call, which most of the time you do, you press the pound key. So the pound key will switch it from private to group. So in this case, what we're looking for would be a group ID. Let's say we want the Missouri talk group. So we could type in 3129. So 3129. There you have it. It's a group ID. And at that point, just go ahead and you would basically just go ahead and key up at this point and you'll be all set. So there you have it. If you want to just type in your talk group on the fly, that is the best way to do it. So I appreciate it. Thanks for the information and the question there. Okay. Here we go. Here's a question. David asks, what is P25 and will the 878 UV2 work on P25? That is a great question. So P25 is another digital mode, pretty much proprietary to Motorola for the most part, and it is primarily used for public safety. So a lot of police stations, a lot of emergency stuff, they all use P25 for the most part nowadays. It can be encrypted. It works pretty well. Now, it's not really so much for amateur radio. I believe there are some people who use it for amateur radio. There's a little bit of that going on, which is neat. And the SkyBridge will actually work with that. Now, you will need to have a P25 capable radio to use P25. It's not going to work with an Anytone or really just about every other radio out there on the market. You will need a P25 radio to work with P25. Generally, they're pretty specific to that, but the SkyBridge can do it. So if you want to get into P25, get yourself a SkyBridge. Okay, here's a question. Let's see, is the 16-character channel/zone name limitation a hardware limitation or a soft/firmware limitation? It'd be awesome to have the ability to have longer names that would scroll if they needed the screen's ability. You know what? I am not sure on that, but we can certainly find out. That is awesome, the idea of scrolling. I think that would be brilliant, be able to scroll the name across. If you can't fit it on the screen, just kind of have it a scrolling name. You see that with radio stations and stuff like that. That would be really neat. So I love it. Awesome idea. If we have the opportunity to make that happen, we certainly will. Okay. Okay, popped up again there. Awesome, there we have it. We'll do one more question here. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Yeah, last question. Looks like Dave asks again, Ultra Code Plug, save to notebook, how do I save to my desktop? So basically with the Ultra Code Plug, that download, kind of like we showed before, we'll jump in the computer here one more time. There we have it. Oops. Looks like it's signed out here. So when you download something, so I'm going to download this firmware here real quick. We'll get rid of the question on the screen. If you download something, like in this case, I'm going to download this firmware. Click download, or click the button to download it. And at this point, it's going to prompt you with where to save it. Now, it's possible your web browser doesn't do that, and it just automatically saves it somewhere. So in this case, I'm going to choose to save it to my desktop right here and click Save. Now, in your case, let's say it doesn't prompt you and it just automatically saves it. You're still going to see it down here in your web browser, most likely. And what you can do at that point is just either show in folder. So in this case, it would bring up the folder where I saved it to. You could open it, or any number of things. You could just open it from right there. But if I click show in folder, it's going to take me to where that is. And at that point, no matter where it's saved, you can move that anywhere you want on your desktop, your computer, and go from there and install it on your radio. So hopefully that helps. Definitely if you have more questions about it, we'd love to help you with your radios in any way possible. So definitely give us a call. That number is 816-532-8451. We'd love to help you get set up with a plug and play. If you want everything done for you, you don't want to fool with all this, we can actually take care of everything, program it for you, ship it to your door, and you can be talking to people around the world right out of the box. But if you want to tinker with it, we'd love to help you that way too. That's what these live shows are for every single week at 11 a.m. Central Time. So that's all I have for today. Thank you all for coming out and attending. Hopefully you learned something. That's what this is all about. Nothing more, just helping people with their radios. So that's all I have for today. I'm Cody, W3AMG with Bridgecom Systems, 7-3.